All right, in this video, we're going to be preparing for the math portion of the 2022-2023 ACT test. This is going to be episode 1. Episode 1 is just going to cover problems 1 through 5. And I will soon be releasing more episodes that cover 5 problem sections of this math ACT practice test. If you're enjoying this content and want to see more content coming in the future, such as the remaining 55 problems of this ACT math test, please consider subscribing and also like the video. All right, so let's read the instructions on this ACT math test. We have 60 minutes to answer 60 questions. Solve each problem, choose the correct answer, and then fill in the corresponding oval on your answer document. Do not linger over problems that take too much time. Solve as many as you can, then return to the others if you have time left. Okay, that is actually very important. You don't want to waste precious time on a problem that you're stuck on. So it'd be best not to guess and just skip it and come back to it later. You are permitted to use a calculator on this test. You may use your calculator for any problems you choose, but some of the problems may be best done without using a calculator. Sometimes using a calculator may actually cause precious time to tick away, so it might be best in most cases to not use a calculator. So let's scroll down. We'll go in order. Number 1 says the numbers 1 through 15 were each written on individual pieces of paper, one number per piece. Then the 15 pieces of paper were put in a jar. One piece of paper will be drawn at random. What is the probability of drawing a piece of paper with a number less than 9 written on it? They're trying to make sure you understand what less than 9 means. In other words, all the numbers that are strictly less than 9, that does not include 9. So do be careful here. The goal in this test is obviously to get the correct answer, but you also have to remember your time constraint. So let's think about it without drawing a picture or anything. How many numbers 1 through 15 are less than 9? So 9 is not included. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So 8 out of 15 is the answer here. Numbers less than 9. So if I put 1 through 15 in a jar and I pick a number, I have an 8 out of 15 chance of choosing a number less than 9. All right. So be careful with the wording. Number 2 says, which of the following expressions is equivalent to negative 4x to the third minus 12x to the third plus 9x squared? So this is an algebra problem. Basically, all they're asking you to do is combine like terms. Remember, you can only combine terms that have the same variable with the same exponent. So they're making sure you can combine that negative 4x to the third with that negative 12x to the third. Now, do not bring out a calculator. Think about, unless you absolutely need to, but think about what negative 4 minus 12 is. That's negative 16. So that term will be negative 16x to the third. There's nothing to combine with that plus 9x squared. So we're just going to keep that written plus 9x squared. And that's going to be letter J. All right, so do be very careful. Look at the choices here. Letter K has negative 16x to the 6th plus 9x squared, and that is indeed not correct. You do not add the exponents together when you're combining like terms. So do make sure you know your algebraic properties. I can make videos regarding rules of exponents and combining like terms and things like that if I need. All right, number 3 says when x equals 2, 10 plus 3 times the quantity 12 divided by 3 times x equals what? Okay, so this is another algebra problem. They're testing your order of operation skills as well as inputting x values into an expression. So let's first input that x equals 2. So I'll have 10 plus 3 times 12 divided by parentheses 3 times 2. All right, and remember your order of operations. I'll go ahead and write them down here. PEMDAS PEMDAS is a very important acronym for your order of operations. Most people remember the order of PEMDAS by the saying, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." But mathematically, what these letters mean, P is your parentheses. So you want to make sure you do anything inside parentheses first, and that includes brackets. E is your exponents. M and D represent multiplication and division. Now, here's where a lot of people make mistakes with the order of operations. Multiplication and division need to be thought of as a group of operations where you have to calculate those operations left to right. So there's a lot of confusion in the MD in PEMDAS. You don't always multiply first. It always depends on which one actually comes first left to right. All right, so if division actually comes first left to right, then you divide before you multiply. So make sure you read correctly. That is also the case for addition and subtraction. So addition and subtraction also need to be done from left to right. So you do need to be careful there. You've probably seen Facebook posts where there's a problem similar to this, and there's probably 2 or 3 different answers, and people debate it, and it's always new math versus old math. It's not that math has changed. It's just a lot of people either aren't taught correctly the order of operations or tend to forget that multiplication and division left to right, addition and subtraction left to right. So you do need to be careful there. But anyway, let's get back to the problem. So go inside your parentheses first. Now notice I have parentheses inside of parentheses. And therefore, in this case, we're going to say 10 plus 3, open that parentheses, right, 12, divided by, now, yes, this division comes before the multiplication, but there's a 3 times 2 inside of a parenthesis, so we do need to take care of that first, and that is 6. Okay? And so now we continue. We still have parentheses, so go inside of that parentheses. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So we have 10 plus 3 times 2. Okay? From here, please, 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 I still have students right now that will take that 10 and that 3 and add together and get 13 and multiply 13 times 2. Notice that is an answer choice, 26. That is not correct. You have to multiply that 3 and that 2 first, and you'll get 10 plus 6, which is 16. So this test is going to have many different answer choices that might make you think that you got this answer correct, because they'll have all sorts of different variations of answers that could happen given these mistakes. So you do have to be very, very careful. Okay. So number 4 is an absolute value problem. This is they're just basically seeing if you know what absolute value means. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. What we need to do here is go inside of those absolute value bars. Since we don't have any variables, we just simply have numbers. We're going to go inside of those absolute value bars, calculate those expressions inside each one individually, then take the absolute value of each and then subtract. So inside this first set of absolute value bars is 6 minus 4. So 6 minus 4 is 2. So we're going to say the absolute value of 2. And then we're going to say minus, and then go inside the second set of absolute value bars. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. So we got the absolute value of negative 5. All right, now you want to apply the absolute value property, which is anything inside of those absolute value bars, which means those numbers inside of those absolute value bars, you're going to think about that as a distance from 0. So distance is always positive, and therefore the absolute value of 2 is 2. The absolute value of negative 5 is 5, and you're going to subtract those. So what's 2 minus 5? That's negative 3. Number 5 says the expression 4c minus 3d times the quantity of 3c plus d is equivalent to what? So this, again, is an algebra problem. They're checking to see if you know how to multiply polynomials. In this case, two binomials multiplied together. They're also checking to see if you know whenever you're multiplying terms with common variables, you know what to do with the exponent. So if you're taking the ACT at this point, you've probably heard of the acronym FOIL. All right, FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. And this is the method that's used whenever you're multiplying a binomial times another binomial. So basically, you're going to take that first expression, So basically, you're going to take that first term and multiply it by the first term here. So 4c times 3c is going to be 12c squared. All right. Whenever you're multiplying the same expressions with the same base, in this case c, you add exponents. Okay, so contrast that with the problem number 2 earlier. All right, outer, so you're going to take the two outer terms, 4c times d. Those two variables are different, so we're just going to write plus 4cd. Now we're going to go in the inner terms. Negative 3d times 3c is minus 9cd. Let me scroll over. And then last L is negative 3d times positive d, which would be a negative 3d squared. And now we continue by adding our common terms. The only terms that are common in terms of the same exact variables with the same exponents would be these two terms, and they can be combined. So 4 minus 9 is negative 5. And so our answer would be 12c squared minus 5cd minus 3d squared. So let's see if we see that in our answer choices. Be very careful. A part of this test is being very cautious and very careful in choosing the correct answer. They will, as I said, they will have different variations of different mistakes that they consider could be made. So 12c squared minus 5cd minus 3d squared is letter C. And that is our answer. All right, there we go. That was the first 5 problems for the Math ACT practice test. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions, concerns, or just comments on things that may have helped you out. And I'll see you in the next episode where we go through problems 6 through 10. See ya.